There was a boy named Veervara. He used to work on a sea ship. During one of his sea voyages, a very fast storm destroyed his ship and scattered everything. The next morning, when Veervara regained the consciousness, he found himself on an unknown
Where have I
island.
come? Is anyone there? Is anyone there? Is anyone there?
After walking for a long distance, Veervara finally came across a city.
I found the people! Where have all the people of this place gone? I can't see anyone. Huh?
Hail the king! Hail the king!
King, but where is he? Oh no! Stop! What's happening here? And where are you taking me?
Despite the beauty of this island, the rules here are equally peculiar. According to these rules, whoever arrives, whether by accident or by traveling, he is declared the new king, while the former king is sent to a deserted island for the rest of his life.
It's strange that whoever serves as the king has to spend their life in isolation. This is very weird. By the way, who is the king here at present?
Me.
Veervara understood why the man was so sad, because it was now the turn of that elderly person to leave the palace and go to the deserted island according to the island's rules. Following the island's rules, Veervara became King Veervara from that moment. People loved him a lot because of his wisdom and kind nature. But there was one thing that troubled Veervara's mind, and that was one day someone else would come as the king, and on that day he too would have to go to the deserted island. To escape this fate, King Veervara devised a plan in his mind.
Soldiers! In the rainy season, the homes of the people living on the coast often get washed away. That's why I order you to develop some parts of the deserted island exactly like our beautiful city. There should be houses, shops, roads and all amenities.
What, the desert island? But my king, only the kings who are abandoned from here are supposed to stay there.
This is not a suggestion, it's an order.
As you wish, my king.
Following King Veervara's orders, some parts of dense jungle on the deserted island were cleared and developed. Now, the deserted island was no longer deserted. And when it wasn't deserted anymore, why would King Veervara worry about going there to stay after a new king arrived? In this way, his plan worked, and he began to rule without worry. That's when one day,
My king, my king, my king. There is news of a large ship sinking far away. Forgive me, my king, but whenever such incidents occur, someone arrives here carried by the current, which means...
This means your new king is about to arrive.
Yes, my king. And the sad part is that the sinking ship bore the flag of our enemies, whose eyes has been on our island for a long time. And according to the rules of our island, if any of their men arrive here, we are obliged to make him the king.
Upon hearing this news, the people of the island were not only worried but also deeply saddened, as they had begun to love King Veervara over time. Moreover, King Veervara had also developed love and affection for them. So he made a plan to ensure that no outsider could come and harm them.
You all will have to change your king anyway, whether you like it or not. So why not do it in such a way that you can choose whoever you want as your king?
How is that possible, Your Highness? According to the rules, only a lost and wandering person can be our king. Now, how can a lost and wandering person be of our choice?
Right now I am the king, and the king can make the rules and change them too. Not every stranger is good, and it's not wise to hand over our kingdom to a stranger or an enemy.
Yes, the king is right.
He's right. But what can we do in this, my king?
The decision is mine, not yours. Considering the welfare of the people here, I propose this rule that you can choose a king from amongst yourselves.
But selecting a king from amongst ourselves poses the risk of bias. That's why we choose an outsider as our king.
I also have a solution for this. If that king doesn't live up to your expectations or shows any discrimination, then some key members of the kingdom will have the right to immediately remove the king.
Wow, my king, what an idea!
Your suggestion is very good. We all agree with your proposal.
Well, my king, if that's the case, then why don't you become our king forever?
No, my friend. My time to leave this place has come. Now it's your turn to choose your king.
Kanchi was the daughter of a weaver in Vijayanagar who was very beautiful and hardworking. Once King Vidyadhar's son, Sriram, went out for a stroll when he saw Kanchi spinning cloth on the spinning wheel. Upon seeing Kanchi's beauty, Prince Sriram couldn't take his eyes off her. He had never seen such a beautiful girl before. So he immediately decided to marry Kanchi. And brought her to the palace after the wedding. Kanchi had all the comforts in the palace. Yet she was not happy because since childhood she was used to doing her own work. But here there were always maids around her, which meant she didn't have to do anything herself. So even in the palace she felt sad. Seeing Kanchi sad, the prince tried to make her happy by sending new clothes, jewelry, various delicacies. But still, Kanchi wasn't happy. And one day, when Kanchi was resting in the garden,
The village life was so much better. I used to do my own work. There were so many people around to talk to. But here, there's neither any work to do nor anyone to talk to. What kind of worm is this? I've never seen it before.
Kanchi had never seen such a worm before. It was a cocoon. And what was coming out of its body was silk.
What is this? It seems like a thread. It's so soft. I can make such nice clothes with it. Soldiers,
Yes, princess.
collect all the silkworms from this tree and put them in warm water to extract their silk, okay? Huh?
Princess, is this a worm or a monster?
Upon Kanchi's orders, the soldiers gathered all the cocoons from the tree and soaked them in warm water, collecting a large amount of silk from them. Seeing this, Kanchi became happy and ordered a spinning wheel to make clothes from the silk.
This is an amazing fabric. I have never seen such a velvety and beautiful fabric in my life.
I haven't seen it either, and I'm glad that you also liked it. I want to make more clothes like this.
Yes, princess. Weave as much fabric as you wish. Soldiers,
Huh?
collect all the silkworms in the kingdom and bring them right here. From now on, everyone in the palace will wear clothes made of this silk fabric.
As you wish, prince.
Kanchi was once again happy and she started working like before. In this way, Kanchi made the first silk cloth of Vijayanagar. The fabric was so silky and velvety that slowly its fame spread to the neighboring kingdoms, and everyone expressed a desire to make such silk fabric.
Greetings, my king. I'm here from request from King Himabindu.
Yes, minister. Tell me.
We have heard much about the silk fabric made in your kingdom. My king Himabindu wants you to share the art of making it with us. After all, knowledge is meant to be shared. And by doing so, your fame will reach far and wide.
Yes, why not?
Forgive me, king. I wish to say something.
Go ahead, prince.
This knowledge is a boon to our kingdom. We can trade in it, but the secret of this knowledge cannot be disclosed to anyone. And just imagine, my king, how prosperous our kingdom will become through the trade of this marvelous silk fabric.
I agree with the prince's words. Minister, please excuse us.
No problem, my king. The prince has given permission for the trade, and that is sufficient for us.
In this way, the trade silk fabric began with the neighboring kingdoms around Vijayanagar. And to ensure that the knowledge of this art did not reach any other place, the king ordered that no one was allowed to take silk thread or silkworms out of Vijayanagar, nor was anyone permitted to disclose this knowledge. Gradually, Vijayanagar prospered and became famous through the trade of silk fabric.
This sari is so beautiful. Who is this for?
This is for you.
For me?
You forgot? Today you are going to your in-laws' house. And since our kingdom trades silk with all the neighboring kingdoms, the princess of our kingdom should definitely get silk saris on a special day.
I love making silk fabric with the spinning wheel. I'll not just take saris but also silkworms so that even after going there, I can make silk fabric.
Don't make such a mistake, Malika. It was a strict order from the king. And don't forget, before leaving the kingdom, everyone is searched. If you're caught, it would be a big problem for you.
What should I do then?
Nothing. Whenever you need silk saris, just send someone to get them from here.
Mallika was the niece of King Vidyadhar's brother, who had married a prince from a neighboring kingdom just a few days ago. She always used to help Kanchi in making silk clothes. So even after her marriage, she had a strong desire to make silk clothes. But without cocoons, it was not possible. So she came up with a solution.
Ah. Now let's see who stops me from taking them away from here.
Sister, it's time for you to leave. But as per the rules of this kingdom, you will be searched before leaving.
Yes, yes, brother. Why not? I'm ready.
Please check.
There is nothing, my prince.
Let's go, sister.
Mallika cleverly took some cocoons with her and went to another kingdom where she started making silk clothes. Mallika's skill in making silk clothes, which she had learnt from Vijayanagar, was highly appreciated. Due to this, the name of Vijayanagar and King Vidyadhar spread far and wide. This led to a flourishing silk trade in Vijayanagar as well. King Vidyadhar realized that such amazing knowledge should not be hidden but shared. So he opened the doors of Vijayanagar to everyone to learn the art of making silk clothes. Decades ago, there was a very beautiful island in the faraway ocean where there were big trees, beautiful ponds, and sublime waterfalls. And oh, I forgot to tell you one thing about it. The rare white stones of this place, which were used to make the most magnificent sculptures in the world.
Get down. What method is this for bringing the stones here?
Forgive my brother. If I had waited a little longer, my boat would have sunk under the weight of the stones. That's why I had to do it without thinking.
You are a strange person. What if someone's head got injured?
Oh, am I strange or is it your island's rule? Have you ever heard that if someone wants to learn the special art of sculpting, they need to bring their own stone? Look who is talking. First change your rules. Then we will talk. I'm leaving.
He spoke the truth. There's indeed a flaw in our island's rules. If we want to get rid of the daily troubles caused by the stones, then we'll have to talk to the king.
Please tell me your problems.
My king, the problem is that our royal sculptor Amar Sen's art of sculpting is so renowned that people from far and wide come to learn sculpting here.
But this is a matter of pride for us. What is the problem in this?
The problem isn't with that, my king. The problem lies with the condition for learning it. And the condition is that whoever wants to learn this art must bring their own stone. Now, due to this condition, stones keep falling on our shores constantly, causing a lot of trouble in our trade.
Minister, is there a shortage of stones in our kingdom that artists are asked to bring their own stones?
How can you say that, my king? Where there's no shortage of gold, silver, food, or anything else, how can there be a shortage of stones, my king?
So what's the matter then? Amar Sen must have thought something before implementing this rule.
If you wish, we can ask Amar Sen to come here and explain.
No, he's not just the royal artisan but also my friend. So I will go to meet him myself.
And King Himabindu, along with his people, went to Amar Sen's sculpture school, where everyone was surprised to see the king himself. Amar Sen asked the reason for the king's visit, To which the king inquired about the unique rule of bringing stones to learn the art of sculpturing.
My king, our kingdom may be quite small, but its soil, trees, plants, and even stones are nature's gift to us. And nature has created everything with a purpose. These trees, plants, water, mountains, stones, everything. Any interference with even one of these can disrupt nature's balance. And then there will be nothing left here. If there's nothing left, what will we give to the coming generations?
Wow, Amar Sen, wow. I'm really pleased with the way you think. And as for your issues, I will soon arrange for a separate shore to be built for the sculptors to bring stones, so that you all don't face any inconvenience.
Thank you, my king. This is a great idea.
Everyone was pleased with the king's justice. And as the king had promised, a separate shore was made for transporting stones, which made the merchants happily continue their businesses. After a few years, when Maharaj Himabindu's son Rajdeep took over the throne, everything started to change gradually, because the thought process of King Himabindu and the new King Rajdeep was quite different. All his decisions were solely for his benefit. After a few days, those who had previously complained started to fill Rajdeep's ears again about sculptor Amar Sen and his rules regarding the transport of stones.
Summon Amar Sen to the royal court immediately.
Forgive me, my king, but he is your father's friend. You should personally go to him. Your father used to do the same.
Don't forget that I have taken the place of my father as the king. My orders must be promptly followed.
And upon the orders of the new king, Amar Sen appeared in the court shortly.
I terminate the rule that requires sculptors to bring their own stones for learning sculpturing, effective immediately.
But my king, this can be harmful to us and our kingdom.
Please leave the profit and loss to us, because we have found out that due to the rule of bringing stones, many artists do not come here at all. So neither will this rule remain, nor will artists hesitate to come here. If more people come here, they will bring more business to us, which will contribute to the progress of our kingdom.
But
I'm not finished yet. You have served this kingdom for so long, and for that, this kingdom is grateful to you. But now it's time for you to rest. Therefore, you are relieved from your duties with immediate effect.
as you say, my king.
In his pursuit of immediate benefits, King Rajdeep failed to foresee the consequences. With the introduction of the new rule, a large number of people started coming to the kingdom. Heavy mining for stone began. To transport the stones to the city, trees were cut down to make carts. The digging caused soil erosion. The temperature increased. Drought set in. As a result, people gradually started abandoning the island. And in just a few weeks, apart from stone statues, nothing was left on the island. And just as Amar Sen had advised King Himabindu, if the balance of nature is disrupted, everything will be lost, which eventually came true. Thus, the king's wrong decision turned the entire prosperous island into barren land and forced the happy residents to leave their homes.
There, due to the king's wrong decision, he had to leave his kingdom. And here, it seems due to Uppi Uncle's wrong decision, we will have to leave the tent. Uppi Uncle, Amma had warned you not to remove stones from the riverside, but you ignored her. And now see, because of that, water is entering the tent.
Oh no! Sorry, Amma.
Where will we sleep now?
Babu, Chiru, come with me. Yay! If you like this video, subscribe to our channel Murthy Media.